So in this video I'm going to talk to you about intervals, and intervals are probably the hardest concepts that you'll have to learn for this class. So if you can understand intervals, then you're pretty much good to go. There are many different intervals, and I'll share with you the reason why. But basically, in order to do the best and have the easiest time with this, is to think about it as in the key. You can think about half steps if you want. There are a certain number of half steps for each interval, and I've put that in the class notes. But really, the easiest way to do this is to think about the interval in the major key. So to start out, there are the main ones that you really want to know because these come up the most. So these are called the perfect intervals. And the reason why they're called perfect has to deal with music back in the old times where they had chant music, and they would only sing in these perfect intervals because they felt that they had the best sound. So let's say that we have a C. If we want a perfect unison, that would be a C and another C. Then you have something called the perfect fourth, which is a fourth interval. So what you do is you count up 4, but you count the note that you're on. So we're going to count C as 1, then 2, 3, 4. Make sure that you count lines and spaces. So we have a fourth, and the reason why it's perfect is because this fourth fits within the key of C major. So it's always going to be the key of the bottom note. Then you have something called a perfect fifth, which you do the same thing, you just count up a fifth instead of a fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're in the key of C major, and so you leave the G because C major has no sharps or flats. And then you have something called the perfect octave or the perfect 8. And really what that just means is that you put the same note but an octave above. So we could count up 8, but I think it's just easier to think about it as, okay, I need another C, and I need to put it up there. These are all ascending intervals that we've done so far. I'm going to show you descending as well, but I think it's easier to think about it as ascending first and then go to descending. So let's take a different interval that's not perfect. Any perfect interval is going to be the note that is within the major key, okay? So let's start on a different note, F. If I wanted a perfect fourth, I would count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to B. Now, if we think about we're in F major, so let's think about what the key signature is. It's 1 flat on B. So since we have a perfect fourth here, I need to make sure that that B is flatted so that it fits within the key of F. Now let's talk about major and minor intervals. For all the other intervals, it's going to be major or minor, not perfect. So this counts a second, a third, a sixth, and a seventh. Those are either going to be major or minor. Fourth, fifth, eighth, or unison are going to be perfect. And there's one instance in which they're not, which I'm going to go over in the next video. So let's take a second here. So we start on D, and remember you count the notes, so you just go 1, 2. So this would be a second, and we need to know whether it's major or minor. Each interval has a quantity and a quality. The quantity has to deal with the number, And the quality has to deal with if it's major, minor, perfect, whatever it may be. So just remember that with each interval there's two parts. You always need to have two parts, the number and the quality. So here let's figure out what the quality is. So if we're starting on D, we're going to say that we're in D major. In D major you have two sharps, F and C. So since we're going to an E, and there doesn't have to be any type of accidental on there, we would call this a major second. If we wanted it to be a minor second, we would have to lower the E. So it would be E flat, and that would make it a minor second. Whenever you have minor, it's the lowercase m, just like you have in key signatures, and then major is the capitalized M. So let's look at thirds really quickly. So let's say we want to start on E flat. We're in the key of E flat, and we need a third. So first thing you're going to do is count up 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to figure out what the quality is of that. So we're in E flat. You only have 3 flats for E flat, which would be B, E, and A. G does not have a flat, therefore this fits in the major key, and therefore it is a major. Let's say that we have B flat to D flat. Let's figure out what interval this is. So if we start from the starting pitch and we go up, we'll see that it's 1, 2, 3, a third. Now we need to find the quality. If we're in B flat major, there's 2 flats, B and E. This D flat does not fit in that key. Therefore, it's minor because it's lowered. So it's a minor third. If it was a major third, it would be a natural D. Now let's do an example of a sixth. So we're going to start on A, and we're going to count up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's say I ask you to make a minor 6. Let's try and see if this is major or minor. In A, we have 3 sharps, F, C, and G. This is an F, and it's not sharped like it should be. It's naturaled, which is lower than a sharp. So that means that this is minor. If we wanted to make it major, then we would have to sharp the F so that it fits within the major key of A. And lastly, let's do a seventh. Let's say we're going to start on G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In G major, we have 1 sharp, and that's on F. This F is not sharped, therefore it would be a minor 7. If we wanted to make it a major 7, we would have to sharp the F.